Hello everybody, I am Conquering History Games, and welcome to sort of a continuation, but also sort of a new beginning to a series in Hearts of Iron 4, the Moe Order, last episodes of anime. Well, yesterday in an absolute marathon of a stream, we finished up the Taboritsky campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4, the Moe Order. And we went through all of the post-Taboritsky death events, which were obviously extremely depressing and exhausting. So between the length of the live stream and the content of the live stream, I was just totally exhausted. Hi there, Frenchan, thank you very much. So that's why I didn't do any near tonight. So here's what we're gonna do in I guess, yeah, Kipsu. I think that's a terrific way to describe it. Now it's time for season 2 of the anime. Now, the way we ended things in that last stream, the Central Eurasian Republic broke off, and so this is going to be the beginning of all the warlords starting to take control in the Holy Russian Empire. And it's going to just break up again, and then we're going to enter the second warlord era. Then I'm going to pick which person I'm going to play. I already know who I'm going to play. I haven't made the thumbnail because I'm deciding between two things, but I already know who it's going to be, and I have it in the other monitor that I could show when the time comes. Or I'll just say, you know, it doesn't matter. But I already know who I'm going to play. So what we're going to do in today's stream, there is a fixed endpoint to the stream. I am going to we're gonna go through, and the idea is that whenever there's the event that pops up, because there's a new breakout warlord, I will read the warlord event, a spawn event, and then I will go to the new nation. We'll take a look at it, see what its name is, see what ideology it is, and we'll read the bio for the person, and maybe if I feel like it, we'll also read some national spirits, but don't plan on the national spirits. Now, I've been told this is going to take a while. This is going to take several hours, probably, if I'm going to read them all. So, if I were you, so you can kind of think of this as a reference video as we go into the future, because I probably won't actually switch over in this episode. Now, what I might do is I might make a save file when that person spawns. I might not. I don't know. It'll depend on if I want to reveal it or not. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm happy to see so many of you here. Wow, I need to start, you know, scheduling the live streams with a little more time, because like now I had all these people waiting, and because I know YouTube's not always that great about notifying people, so it was good that this went up. Okay, but anyway, here we go. So the Central Eurasian Republic spawned. They are led by Mikhail Baganov and are despotic. How can the human spirit endure the death of one's nation? How could such a spirit, no matter how resilient, endure the death of one's nation a second time? Mikhail Petrovich Baganov knows, though he wishes day after day that such knowledge was not his. A former Novosibirsk general, Baganov and a cluster of partisans, refugees, and anyone with legs with which to run melted into the Altai when the madness that had engulfed Komi engulfed Siberia. In the forests and hills, they fought a desperate battle for survival, praying that the dawn would come. It never did. Baganov watched as Novosibirsk died. No, as Novosibirsk was murdered. As madmen, zealots, and sycophants tore her former country apart, Baganov wept bitter tears of grief. The Russia she once knew was raped, slaughtered, turned inside out, leaving only an ugly, brutalized exterior of blood and pain. As he and her partisans began to lose all hope, and as Baganov considered ending her own life, a single ray of hope shined. Taboritsky, the monster of Syktyvkar, was dead. As the Holy Russian Empire began to collapse, Bagadanov seized her opportunity, her ragtag army taking back her beloved Novosibirsk. In this new old city, Bagadanov proclaims the death of Russia and the birth of a Eurasia free from the agony and hatred of past regimes. A new nation will live on, if it can only survive until dawn. We also should, I think I read it before, but we'll go ahead and read our leader here. This is the person in the thumbnail. As the chemical-ridden hell, this is Viktor Lerenov. And the chemical-ridden hellhole that is Russia, hatred thrives, new and old. Viktor Alexandrovich Lerenov is one such symbol of old hatred, the newest regent of the Holy Russian Empire, following Taboritsky's footsteps. Formerly a soldier in Wrangel's White Army during the Civil War, and later an officer of the ROA during World War II, Viktor came to become a close associate of Taboritsky. Following his death and Shabelinsk-Borsk's disappearance, Lerenov was appointed as head of cabinet following the power struggle, after which he promptly made use of his Post-Taboritsky to purge any opposition, proclaiming himself as Blessed Regent of the Holy Russian Empire. Now nestled in Vyatka, the Blessed Regent keeps paving the way for the rightful monarch's return, though her belief in Alexei's return specifically remains questionable as opposed to her predecessor. But isolated in the Russian wasteland with few followers, most of those kept in line through fear and bribery, Lerenov is but a mere madwoman leading a realm of thieves and raiders. By the way, let me show you guys the full body picture of Lerenov here. Bit more leg than I was expecting, but as I told the person who showed me the full body picture, I guess you need strong thighs in order to choke the life out of Russia. What a way to go, huh? There we go. It's good art. I like it. There we go. Anyway. Kipsu, one thing at a time. We're going to do one playthrough. I know that there's unique things. There's unique shit all over the place. In this mod, a million other mods. There's only so much I could do. There's only so many hours in the day. Let's see here. Where were we? Now, let's go ahead and get moving forward. There it is. The armored car rolled through Vyatka, the swastika and the icon of Holy Russian Empire, emblazoned on its chassis in bold paint. By the way, in case some of you have not seen it before, thick thighs take lives. I like that. For those of you who haven't seen it before, a close-up of the Holy Russian Empire's flag, because it's not Jesus in the middle, it's actually Moduka, or Madoka? I'm not sure. I haven't seen this anime. I think it's called Madoka Magica or something. So, anyway, that's our flag. She's died for our sins. Anyway, Christians, fellow Russians, began the unmistakable voice of the second Blessed Regent. I come to you with disturbing news. Lukova, still in hiding, wondered why Lerenov had bothered to specify. All news in the Holy Russian Empire was disturbing to some degree. Sergei Taboritsky, our fallen and former Blessed Regent, was, according to his own words written in a secret diary, a Jew! Onlookers gasped, adopted expressions of surprise, or said nothing as they shuffled away from the propaganda car. Lukova did nothing, said nothing. There was no point in doing so. Taboritsky, a Jew? Surely that had to be a lie. Like all Jews, continued the voice of the Blessed Regent, Taboritsky possessed a twisted mind, and I tell you with sorrow that he planned to murder Alexei as a sacrifice to his Hebrew deity when our beloved Tsarevich returned. I and my comrades were forced to act. Yes, my fellow Christians, my ascension to the position of Blessed Regent was done out of love for you, for Christ. Taboritsky was slain by the judgment of God, and it was God who ordained that I save the Holy Russian Empire from the taint of Jewry. Hebrews still lurk among us. Good Christians, we must be ever vigilant for their tricks and lies. The car rolled on, deeper into Vyatka, the speech carrying on, fading as it grew further and further from Lukovia's hiding place. Did it matter to her if Taboritsky had been a Jew? Certainly not, and certainly not now that Leronov promised only more pain, more pogroms, more death. Did the truth matter at all? The death train rolls along, no matter who the conductor is, no matter his blood. Alright. We supported the CCP against Soviet Russia. The US is willing to use any counterbalance against anyone. Saudi Arabia. Okay. Pink Panzer is weeping. Why? I don't get it. Alright, let's do that. Vyatka calling. Leronov stared at the radio at the great map of the Holy Russian Empire. Her minions stood in silent fear, waiting what the Blessed Regent would do or say next. Communications had been patched throughout the outer reaches of the Empire. Hold on. Son of a bitch. Sorry, I got a text. I got some bullshit I'm gonna have to deal with after this. Oh my god. Communications had been patched to the outer reaches of the Empire following the death of Taboritsky, and the news was not good. Secession, desertion, and a disregard for Larionov's orders ruled beyond the region, beyond the Blessed Regent's direct control. Those ungrateful Jew fucks! Screamed Larionov, slamming the palm of his hand down on the table with enough force to cause pencils to jump from their resting place. After all we have sacrificed, all we have gained, these cowards, these blood traitors, shit it all away! The Blessed Regent's face contorted in rage, and the chieftains dared not speak. The army won't listen to me. The Shturmoviki outside Vyatka can't be fucked to call me back. And Mikey is sitting in his roost and laughing at me. I am the regent. I will not be ignored. Sweat shone off of Larionov's face, and the regent took a shuddering breath. Emphatically, he beat his fist against her chest. I am the master over life and death in Russia. I will not be denied. I want the name of every commander, every officer, every soldier who will not accept my authority. I want them rounded up and burned at the stake. I want their families fed to the dogs, and I want their towns gassed. Leronov sagged into her chair, seeming to deflate. As far as I'm concerned, only you present here at this moment are loyal to me and to the Empire. There will be hell to pay. All of Russia will be back in our hands. I swear this on God. If I die, Russia dies with me. The Blessed Regent's voice was soft, low. No, dang it, I already voiced it a different way. But tinged malice and venom. The voice of a wounded viper. Night fell over Vyatka and over the Holy Russian Empire. Loyalty to the region, it seems, extends only as far as a bullet can travel. Oh, that's a good metaphor. That's a real good metaphor. You know what I'm going to do because she wears a gas mask? Let me go get, like, my gator neck, and I'll put that on over my face to help me get into character. I'll just be a moment. Okay, it was taking too long to find my gator neck, so I got one of my masks that has skulls on it. Oh, a gator neck? It's like a... It's, how do I describe it? It's like a neck warmer, but you could bring it up over your face. You know that shit Kakashi wears over his face in Naruto? That. It's one of those. Basically. They're great. They're great when it's hot. They're great when it's cold. They're amazing. What I'm just going to do is I got a mask here. I have a bunch of masks with skulls all over them because my mother, back last year when the Backstreet Boys reunion tour was kicking off and there was a shortage of masks, my mother told me that she was working with somebody do a female Bane impersonation. Not a bad idea, Max. I might try. So she was working with a woman, and the woman's mother was making face masks, and she's like, "Yeah, they're just $3 each." And I gave her like $15. I said, give me 5. And so then the next time I went over to my parents, she had them, and so like it was a Mexican woman who was making them, so it's a lot of like Dia de los Muertos skull patterns on them and stuff. All right. Anyway. All right, we're about to get a new warlord here. No, the wastes of western Kazakhstan had been silent for a long time. Not a village had been left standing following the crusade of the Sturmoviki against the barbarian race that populated the steppes and deserts of Russia's borderlands. It was assumed that final victory had come long ago, as one could comfortably travel the land without seeing a single soul. Then on a cool, clear morning just before dawn, there came a lone figure running for his life across the arid, rocky terrain of the southern steppe. The tattered remains of a poncho flapped in the wind behind him. His black uniform, stripped of any insignia or emblems, stood out like an ink blot on fresh paper against the sun-scorched earth. But insignia or no, there was no escaping the raging cloud of dust that bore down on him, with the thunder of hooves and gunning engines at its fore. The man had long since ceased any attempt to get a glimpse at his pursuers, focusing entirely on running as fast as his burning, screaming muscles would carry him. He had been doing so for an hour and yet evaded them still. He knew they were touring with him. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, even put the cars aside, even on horses, it doesn't take an hour to catch a guy, even if he's got a hell of a head start. Actually, having said that, there is a race that they do, I think, in Wales, where they race horses against men over like 22 miles, with the idea being that if you train, you actually can go faster than the horse when it's that much of a distance. Because it's not like the horse could gallop the entire time. Mere seconds after that thought had crossed his mind, the earth-shaking tempest grew louder. For the first time in 20 minutes. It was time. Let's see. He had played their game, indulged their mocking offer of escape for long enough. The Shturmovik, for the first time in his life, found his courage. He turned around, raised his pistol, took aim at his on-rusting pursuers, and then the front fender of a ZIS-3 slammed into him at top speed. With an impact that shook the driver and the crunch of wheels pulverizing bone, the Imperial garrison finally fell. It is a right of nature to glut the soul with vengeance. Kessler. What if the horse trained to... Well, they do. That's the whole point. And most of the time, the horses win the race. But I think humans have beaten the horses a couple of times. Because, yeah, like Tenbray just said, humans are natural marathon runners. Unlike dwarves, who are natural sprinters. So here we have Safa Ghazi. Wow, what a sick-looking portrait. But I mean that in a great way. Leader of the Kazakh Purification Army. A long time ago, a certain German philosopher warned that one should be careful of not becoming a monster himself in the process of fighting them. Unfortunately, Safa Ghazi's is now but a reflection of the mad regent's reign of terror. Originally a minor NKVD officer of the Kazakh SSR before the Soviet Union's demise, Safa led a relatively quiet life prior to Taboritsky's reign of terror in Kazakhstan. Under the Holy Russian Empire's occupation of her homeland, Ghazik led a group of raiders and partisans, wreaking havoc in the countryside against Russian forces. As time went on, her hatred for the Russians and Slavs as a whole grew, removing the Ov Russian suffix of his surname as a sign of rejecting any Slav cultural influence. Now that the raging lies dead, Ghazi's and her clique of hatred-filled partisans have risen up to purify their homeland of any Pole or Russian foolish enough to set foot in Kazakhstan. She who fights monsters to look to it that she herself does not become one herself. Yeah, this portrait's awesome. It's great. Alright, let's keep moving. There's a really sick marathon that takes place. I think it's in... Is it in Tennessee? Yeah, Tennessee with the... it's called the Barclay Marathons, where it's an ultra marathon that circles around this prison that's in the wilderness of Tennessee, and it was inspired by a guy who lived there when he found out that Martin Luther King's killer had escaped from, like, his assassin had escaped. That in like 5 days he'd only gotten 8 miles from the prison because he couldn't deal with the wilderness, and the guy was like, I could run 100 miles in 5 days, and then that's what inspired him starting the marathon. Okay, pure waters. The wind danced gentle and calm over the steppes and hills near the shores of the Aral Sea. Grains of sand carried across the skies from the Tarim Basin speckled the abandoned huts that comprised an abandoned fishing village. The inhabitants scattered before the gas and fire that had once rained from the skies, until today. The sea was still pure, at least. That was something. It meant the fish stocks survived. Perhaps they were more numerous than ever without the regular deductions made by Kazakh fisherfolk. It had been a hard few years living off rabbits, deer, and even horses in the wilderness. The sheep were too valuable to slaughter, and so they had remained, even as their shepherds were reduced to traveling on foot like Russians. Countless days spent chasing rogue flocks without horses to keep pace. Countless nights sleeping in the frigid steppes finally came to an end. And yet, as Paria sighed and waded into the shallows with her fishing spear, family at her back, she knew nothing would be the same again. They could return to the life they had yearned for, lived by countless generations of ancestors, but nothing would return her parents to life, repair the broken bloodline of their prized steeds, or heal the mustard gas scars that marred her skin. At least they had their lives. And that was all they needed. Come on. Come on. There it is. These are the free Kazakh clans. And goodness gracious, they're actually democratic in this post-Taboritsky world. They are led by Sultan Akhmet Kozkinov, who is the new Khan. They're a bandit rabble, though, of steppe riders. Oh, and also, I don't know if we went over this before, but every single one of these nations has the same national spirit here. Salted Earth, which is like the environmental damage by the HRE. The greatest mark that the Regent's Holy Russian Empire has left across the motherland is that of salted earth and ruined fields. The legacy of the vast amounts of chemical agents deployed against insurgents and other enemies during the process of unification. As a result, vast amounts of fertile land have been poisoned, formerly critical water sources have been rendered unsafe to drink, and forests have been stripped bare. Untainted food and water is rare in the post-imperial wasteland, and all of the motherland shall suffer for it. So this hurts monthly population, recruitable population, it increases attrition, it vastly increases consumer good factories, and it lowers construction speed. So yeah, this Kozkinov. Even in the face of oppression and death, mankind finds a way to cling onto hope. Something that can be seen in the free Kazakh clan's continued existence in the Kazakh wastelands of the former Holy Russian Empire. Though his name might be hard to remember in its entirety, the impact that Sultan Akhmet Kongirkozayevich Kozhikov has had over the remaining Kazakhs is unforgettable. A soldier of the Soviet Union during the Great Patriotic War, the future leader of the Free Clans became a grassroots movie director following the USSR's collapse, seeking to show the life and traditions of his people. This came to be an important detail as she saw her homeland fall under the Mad Regent's reign of terror and sought to show the horrors her people were subject to under the Holy Russian Empire through her underground photography documentation. Through this, she came to be elected by the unified councils of the free Kazakh clans at their first gathering following the fall of Taboritsky's regime. A beacon of hope in these war-torn lands, Sultan Akhmet will lead her people towards a better tomorrow, one where their way of life is no longer threatened. Why is it Finland tried to re-expand? Who knows? Maybe it's just because they bitch made. They didn't take back the peninsula. This doesn't belong to Finland. This playthrough is Fallout in Russia. Yeah. Gotta watch out for the radiation. Except instead of radiation, it's chemicals. Also, Strom Thurmond's election is going to be coming up. Aggressive recruiting methods. Which is that? Yeah, making her way slowly but surely over to the negotiations. But with Keshi, I don't know how that's going to go. Nobody's expanding into Russia because it's useless now. That's true. It's a problem. That's like how you hear, and I'm not Korean. I don't have an opinion on this. This is just stuff I've heard. But how, like, there's South Koreans who don't want the Koreas to get united because they just don't want to deal with, you know, whatever kind of, for lack of a better word, reconstruction program, what that would cost in North Korea. We have radioactive vodka. Fallout with no Nuka-Cola. Alright, we're just waiting for that next pop-up. I guess let's get rid of this, because we can't deploy anybody anyway, so whatever. Let's see here. Come on, give me another event. Let's go. Yeah, Germany dealing with the East Germans. Yeah, but this would be much more extreme. Okay, cross the ocean blue. The last of the Holy Russian Empire's conquests, the far east of Siberia, was not so terribly ravaged, relatively speaking. Thousands dead, towns destroyed, yes, but those who wished to survive found doing so a simple affair, provided they had the resources. Nikolai Abramov was one such man. When her stolen cruiser steamed into Magadan, it was a ghost town. Nobody hailed them as they docked, and there was certainly no red carpet rolled out for the good captain. The sole presence was an imperial watchtower on the waterfront, which had previously been reduced to splinters with a single precise shot from 2 kilometers away. Quite a shot, if the gunnery chief did say so himself, which he did, loudly, and with many a toast from her subordinates. That very night, from the radio tower in the docks, the designated signal went out. Aging transmitters sent forth Abramov's message, along with a simple code to confirm that all was clear. No response ever came, but those who heard it did. They arrived in a steady trickle, in yachts, rowboats, fishing ships, motorboats, dinghies, patrol boats, and even warships. The stream ran dry within days, but by then the port of Magadan was filled to overflowing, with dozens of vessels anchored outside the harbor's shelter or lashed to each other for stability amidst the frigid waves. In the old town hall, ravaged by mortar fire and the telltale signs of a massacre, Abramov spread her arms in greeting before the assembled seamen and said just one thing. "Gentlemen, I am pleased to initiate you into our enterprising company." Okay, Freeport of Magadan. So, led by the person we just read about, Nikolai Abramov. They're despotic. Armageddon, and that's an interesting flag. There's like an elk or something here, or some kind of deer. Armageddon itself may have come to Russia, but that does not necessarily mean that one could no longer make a tidy profit. Enter Nikolai Ivanovich Abramov, a former associate of Konstantin Rodovsky's Russian Fascist Party, who has always had a keen eye for opportunities, be they increasing her influence or to line her pockets. A reindeer, there you go. After the Russian Far East fell to the dark behemoth to the west, Abramov was one of the lucky few who were able to evade the gaze of Taboritsky's security forces. The RFP's naval wing, of which Abramov was an admiral, was never the most prestigious branch of the organization, and perhaps it was this fact that saved her life in the end. The good fortune would not stop there, though, as soon Taboritsky's regime would crumble with his apparent death. with her apparent death leaving Abramov in a key position to climb the ladder once again. With the help of old contacts all across Amur, Abramov was able to carve out a slice of her own in the midst of the apocalypse, and she now finds herself in control of one of the only functional ports still left standing in Russia. Now that the dust is settled, she is offered all sorts of premium services for the privileged few who remain alive. Be it safe passage away from the madness that has befallen Russia, or luxury goods from across the world. Not that she cares too deeply about Russia's plight, of course. Nikolai Abramov saw a chance to get rich, and she took it. Alright, let's keep moving. So the Kazakhs have totally broken out. And a little bit here in Central Siberia. Excuse me, Central Serbia. And then we got the Freeport of Magadan there, which also includes the Kamchatka Peninsula this time. Alright, these stages of grief. Another secession. Friends, family, people of Russia, lend me your ears. My name is Alexander Alexandrovich Zinoviev. I will not lie to you, or shy away from the truth. The motherland has fallen. No refuge can be found in her bosom any longer, for she lies cold and lifeless upon the bier. Every man and woman will know at some point in their lives the hardship of saying farewell to their mother for the last time. Yet no personal tragedy could compare to what we have suffered. I'm becoming Italian. What we have suffered as a whole. She, the great nation who gave us all of us alive, she is no more. This is the, yeah, this is, I'm creating canon. Russian immigrant raised by Italians. After one's mother is laid to rest, it could be a nigh insurmountable challenge to continue living as though nothing had changed. She who brought one into the world, fed one from her breast, and comforted one in time of tears. How could anything possibly be the same in her absence? Indeed, I will not ask this of you. No decent woman could. Yet, we must press forth. We are not given the blessing of time on this earth merely to squander it on excessive grief. There is a season for all things, even mourning. When the cold of winter passes, we must emerge from the comfort of our abode and begin the sowing of a new harvest. Otherwise the world will simply continue without us. We would be left in history's wake. None would remember us as any more than the dying embers of a great civilization. Children of the motherland, spring has come. Whatever fate other nations choose, Russia will always endure. Whatever fate other nations choose, Russia will, we will see life bloom anew, even if the very soil rejects us. I implore you now join me. Traverse the orb and see our city rise once again. Tomsk, the heart of Siberia itself, is born again. And someday we shall see the motherland again. Oh, you want to start making clips of me doing accents? I would be so happy if if clip channels based around me started spawning. Then I can watch my own highlights. It'll be hilarious. It's like watching game footage too. It'll help me improve. Oh, that's okay. This is all dead. All this dead, right? Or no. Oh no, yeah, it's dead. It's dead. Yeah, this is not it. It's just libertarian socialism. I guess everybody's libertarian socialist when everybody's dead, right? You know, no government's gonna bother you because you're dead. Republic of Tomsk. Hey there, Potato Man. What are we gonna do here? So, here we have the Republic of New Tomsk under Alexander Zinoviev. Oh, I like this. She's dressed nice. She looks serious. Authoritarian democracy. Let's see what we've got here. Legacy of the Siberian plan. So it's basically the salons are back. And centrism reigns. They've put aside most arguments in the interest of surviving, but only time will tell if the arrangement will hold. So these are the Bastards who are currently in charge. An opponent of the USSR during its existence, Alexander Alexandrovich Zinoviev is a woman with philosophical inclinations, who has nonetheless been spurred into action in her country's time of need. Nearly conscripted during the First War with the Germans, the USSR fell before she could be brought to the front. Zinoviev made her way to the newly established Central Siberian Republic in the aftermath, seeing it as a beacon of relative tolerance and stability, and joined the Bastillard Society, rising to an undistinguished position of their leadership. With the rest of the leadership of the Bastillards dead or missing as a result of the vicious purges of the Empire, she has taken charge of the rebuilding of Tomsk, large portions of which were leveled by Imperial forces. Deeply haunted by the devastation of the modernist and humanist societies, Zinoviev is very willing to compromise in order to ensure the continuation of much-needed stability. Let's see. People are asking about Dangism. You know what? I think at this point, yes, there are ideologies, but mostly everybody's just trying to build a society so they could live in a society. Other than, like, you know, whatever the fuck. You know, like right here, I haven't played as Tomsk before, but I think they start pretty much quartered, and there's a lot of bickering between the four of them, the four parties. But, oh, there you go. It just kind of readjusted itself. Yeah. So you see how this is? I'm sure that right now, if there's anybody who survived from the 10 years ago, like anybody remembers being in office in 62, and they're going, wow, you know, after an insane regent, unified the country and chemically warfared his own land and murdered his old people in insane numbers, I think the four centrist ideologies kind of are a little friendlier now. I think there's a little more, you know, politeness being exchanged in the assemblies these days. Okay. So, Red Rust. Revolution was prone to setbacks. Any rational socialist could see that fact. Progress rarely walked a straight road, let alone a well-paved one. The march towards workers' liberation could be adversely affected by any number of factors, just as the construction of a house could be forestalled by inclement weather. That was a simple fact of life. And Marxism, by definition, dealt only in facts. Among those facts, the inevitable victory of socialism was the most ironclad of all. Even if the spirit was crushed or the people enslaved... Hold on. The people enslaved, the idea would survive. It was the fated outcome of history. Servitude bred resentment. Resentment bred anger. Anger bred revolution. This is where we're going to find out about Communist Yoda. Sure as the sun would rise, the red banner of the working class would always fly triumphant over the graves of humanity's oppressors. Mikhail Pervukhin understood this better than anyone. When the imperial banners were trampled into the mud by peasant uprisings, her faith in the scientific truth of socialism was validated yet again. She had seen priests, liberals, and deviationists alike cower before the reactionary juggernaut of Nazism. But she stood strong because she knew, as she knew the sky to be blue, that the regent would fall. Now that the yoke had been cast off by the people, they would need her guidance. Without a new steward to light the way, they would surely slide back into the same tendencies they had just rebelled against. Bukharin had led them off a cliff, but Pervukhin would lead them to victory upon a road built from the bones of the revolution's enemies. She would be so much more than another Bukharin. She would be Stalin. Because remember, Stalin is kind of remembered fondly by the Communist Party in this timeline, because Stalin never took charge. Grass is always greener on the other side, that kind of thing. Okay. Come on. Spawn you. Spawn. Wow, we have so many viewers. This is awesome. I'm so happy everybody's excited to see all the new warlords. So based around Orenberg, we have here the Revolutionary Communes of Orenberg. Oh, what a cute Dushenka and scarf combo. Mikhail Pervukhin is in charge, and it's entirely authoritarian socialist. What else have we got down here? Well, look at it in a minute. No amount of reactionary thuggery could ever extinguish the flame of Bolshevism in Russia. Bolshevism. And we have funny sex number of viewers. Can we get funny sex number amount of likes hit? Try it, everybody. Click that button. Okay, no amount of reactionary thuggery could ever extinguish the flame of Bolshevism in Russia, and Mikhail Grigorievich Pervukhin is living proof of that. With the death of Kaganovich and subsequent collapse of the Tyumen government, Pervukin followed her last orders and led the last few Stalinists on an odyssey towards the southern Urals. There she found fertile ground for a revolution where she planned for and organized from a mountain hideout, in expectation of the moment for Taboritsky's reactionary monstrosity to finally collapse. When that day came, the Bolshevik coup was swift, and General Secretary Mikhail Pervukin was sworn in as chairman of the Orenberg Revolutionary Communes. In other circumstances, it is likely that a regime so fanatically dedicated to the ideals of the late Kaganovich would be intolerable to any population that aspires to a dignified living. In fact, there could scarcely have been a less fertile breeding ground for a dictatorship of the proletariat as totalitarian as Pervukin's than the patchwork former anarchist villages around Orenberg. Such was the extent of sheer oppression practiced by Taboritsky's men that an eventuality so unlikely became first a foretold certainty and then a fact. Indeed, for many whom just a decade earlier professed an unbound love of liberty and freedom, Pervukin's cult of personality, all-encompassing iteration of the NKVD, and absolute control over every facet of economic life are now harsh but fair measures. For Pervukin herself, the situation could scarcely be more exciting. In effect, the revolutionary southern Urals, besieged, impoverished, and ravaged as they are, form a perfect analog to the Russia of 1917. It is only fair in turn that Pervukin be considered its Lenin. Let's see. I haven't played Kaganovich, but I've seen some screenshots, because I guess the whole thing with Kaganovich, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't played as him, is that he believes in Stalin's plan, which never happened in this timeline. So he's all about industrialization. So I've seen screenshots where Russia, when unified, has like over 500 factories, which is nuts considering Germany, which is like the preeminent power in the world, they've barely got about that much right now in 1972. And if we go over here to the United States, they don't have 500. So does anybody know if there's any truth to that? I've seen a couple of screenshots like that, I think. He's a Stalin simp. Oh man, the chat going along. Yeah, immortal science of Marxism-Leninism. Yeah, Strom Thurmond's the president right now. He's got a few months left in office. He seems to be going for... Oh, never mind. He's doing the center shall not hold. Where's that at? Why is he not done yet? Oh, I know. Oh, he got a second... Did he get a second tree? That's right. And then he also wasted all this fucking time doing the New Republic thing. Because this doesn't even have anything to do with America. That's with the Arabs. He's doing the center shall not hold. So that means, yeah, he's revoking any bit of civil rights that's been going on. You've seen Kaganovich, USSR, with 700 factories. Wow. February says it can be done, but getting 500 factories is ball-bustingly hard. I would imagine that you've got to max out construction and civilian spending at all times for the entire game. And you got to throw down infrastructure first. And like, yeah, like some of you are saying it's a bit overpowered, but I guess ultimately it doesn't really matter because you've unified Russia, so the game is over. But conceptually, that's very interesting. Okay, a glimmer on the horizon, but hold on, let's see how. Yep, Gus Hall is getting stronger, up to 13%. A glimmer on the horizon. Captain? Called out to Menzies, lowering his binoculars for a moment. He rubbed at his tired eyes before taking a closer look. Captain! He called again. He called... hold on. He called again. Loud enough to carry over the howling wind. Oh, we need wind? Hold on. Wind effects! Here we go. Here we go. Sound effects time with Conquering History Games. Alright. So, Captain Hill was beside... Sir, the shoreline! I see something out there! Captain Hill was beside him a moment later, wrapped up to his eyes in a great coat and scarf. There came a muffled and bored-sounding grunt from the officer. Handing his binoculars to the captain, Menzies pointed directly at what he'd seen across the slate-gray waters of the north Pacific. It's not a fan, it's wind. It's howling wind. We're on the sea. It's sound effects. See that light just up the shore from the seal colony. Think it's coming from the old pier. Even without the binoculars, he could see it flickering like a distant car driving behind a thin tree line. I see, murmured Hill. Not a lamp, though. Something about it's not quite right. Maybe a small floodlight? He lowered the binoculars and squinted through the anemic light of an Arctic dawn. Whatever it is, it's flashing a signal at us. SOS, in fact. Menzies nodded. I figured, but what for? Think the Ruskies know we were watching them and want to bait us? Hill had just opened his mouth to reply when somebody shouted up the ladder behind them. Captain, we just picked up a signal on an open frequency. Don't know what for, but there's someone on or near the shore and they're calling for help. In English. Do I have the fan running normally? Do I hear anything? No, I don't. I have it cranked up for the sound effect. I don't know. Hell no, I don't do this like right here. Hill hesitated only for a moment before the prospect of an alternative to another boring patrol and of a decoration for heroism won out. Well, since they asked so nicely, tell the helmsman to bring us in closer. Get the lifeboats ready. On the shore, his hands sore from 5 hours of switching the floodlight on and off. A shivering young man saw the submarine ascend fully and turn towards him. With trembling grip, he loaded his single flare, pointed straight up, and fired. The Yanks are coming. Alright, enough sound effect. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. So right here we have the United Siberian Salvation Committee under Nikolai Artemonov. Nikolai Artemonov was once this is authoritarian democracy. Was once an unassuming man and a rather unappreciated branch of the Soviet military. Now, however, she may be the last hope for the people of Kamchatka. Although she did not receive much acclaim under the rule of Admiral Yumashev, she received some minor political influence when the forces of Alexander Men overran the ports of Kamchatka. She was seen as the most competent woman available to manage the local ports and was given a comfy and relatively well-paid job to administer them in the name of the divine mandate. The good times would not last forever, though, as soon a great and terrible storm would blow in from the west. The unprecedented scale of the atrocities committed by Sergei Taboritsky's armies served as a sobering reminder to Artemonov that this was a time of action, and to rest on her laurels would be an almost criminal breach of her responsibilities to the people of Kamchatka. With the aid of like-minded leaders, Artemonov rallied what few remain into a statelet devoted towards a singular goal: the safety and security of Russia's survivors, no matter what the cost. Desperate times call for unorthodox solutions, and Artemonov sees only one path forward: the immediate secession of Kamchatka from the state formerly known as Russia, and the admission of the region as a territory of the United States. Some say this goal is laughable, a completely impractical solution thought up by a silly woman. Artemonov sees no other option. In her eyes, every other avenue has failed, and only that shining city on a hill beyond the Bering Strait could possibly save Russia from total annihilation now. So yeah, the floodlight probably was doing SOS. So SOS, for those of you who don't know, it's just... So just three short, 3 long, 3 short. SOS. So... That's all there is to it. Very, very simple. So, a light from the east. Weekly stability plus 10%. Wow. Sailor state. Very interesting stuff. Yep. 3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots. Exactly, February whiskey. What an effed up world. Alaska gets bigger. Oh. Oh, wait. Oops. Oh, hey. Sorry, I don't know who it was in the chat. I think that I accidentally deleted one of your messages. I was clicking something else, so I'm sorry if I did that. Okay, mobbed. Governor Kemerov had never thought much of peasants. Before the region had personally elected him to rule the lands north of Lake Baikal, which I think is this lake here. He had been a professor of history of all... Ooh, history professor! She had been, or it's a she had been a professor of history. Of all history's conundrums, one thing had always puzzled him. Peasant rebellions. Oh wait, no, this is the Regent's pick, so, or I don't know. Peasant rebellions. Her thesis on the intellectual deficiencies of peasants, approved by the Imperial Ministry of Education, was established fact in, state policy. That was precisely why she'd always had to be so harsh. How else would the stubborn wretches learn? It seemed so foolish. What hope did peasants have against any kind of organized authority? Of course, they could potentially wreak devastation before a proper army could be... Yeah, this guy's an asshole, so we're going, you know, a little more pompy. Of course they could potentially wreak devastation before a proper army could be brought to bear, but the moment resistance was met, they could crumble. The devastation, more than anything, came from the fact there would be too few people to work the fields and keep the nation fed. What use was a life in the fields when it came to the task of delivering death? As Kamarov had recently learned quite a bit. He had learned it through practical experience. The peasants' knowledge of the land allowed the garrison patrols to be picked off at leisure. Their resilience to hardship had rallied them together in a clandestine resistance. Most prominently, their courage was now beyond doubt in Kamarov's mind, thanks to their rapid and fearless storming of both his manor and the barracks. The final lesson, that of the impressive unyielding strength that swinging tools all day gave a peasant, was delivered on a sunny Monday when the meek, doe-eyed young lady who tended the manor garden eviscerated him with a single swing of her sharpened shovel. The lessons learned could have been of much practical benefit to the Empire. Unfortunately, their memory was lost, along with the former professor's life, when the other peasants roared the name of Mother Anarchy and tore him to pieces with their bare hands. Bloody peasants, indeed. So I think this is going to be here. It said north of Lake Baikal. Or, is it Baikal? Baikal? Baikal. Where are they? Where's Mother Anarchy's sons? Here we go. You can always depend... 3 things in life. Death, taxes, and the Serbian Free Territory saying fuck you to them both. Here we go. So this is the Serbian Free Territory under Yevgeny Tartuta, a former member and ideologue of the old Siberian Black Army. Yevgenika Alexandrovna Tartuta survived the purges imposed by the Empire on her fellow anarchists. It came out of the experience more determined than ever. Oh, so even without Moe, this is a woman. To free the Russian people from the chains of the state, having witnessed firsthand the depths to which a government could sink. Having rallied those of her old allies that remained, Tartuta seeks to restore the free territory as it once was, a beacon of freedom in a land in desperate need of it. She will show the world that Russia can be free, can rise above the depredations of the Holy Russian Empire, or die trying. So in this case, Mother Anarchy loves her daughters, too. A female girl? Yeah. Cactus, that's good. So what have we got here? Yeah, free territory, more stability, but less political power gain. Our little patch of land is one of the few places on this downtrodden earth where the ideals of anarchism can thrive without the threat of revisionists or counter-revolutionaries. Thus... Wow, what's happening? It's acting up. I don't know what's going on over there. After action report. Consul Dragonov's report office was almost unrecognizable to Pavel Shiryayev. When she had last sat at the desk across from the Merchant of Death, it had been to discuss security measures. Back then, it had been a splendid but tasteful room. Carved wood, Swedish-made furnishings, and prototype guns locked in their display cases. Now it was just another one of the opulent, overindulgent money sinks that every imperial governor just had to possess. Stained glass windows that completely obscured the view, velvet curtains with silver filigree, and the gold. So much gold pillaged from wherever it could be found and plastered over half the room. Shiryev spat and kicked away the high-backed governor's chair, instead sitting down on the edge of the desk. At least that was still the one he remembered. She remembered, albeit with gold leaf obscuring the hand-carved decorations. A bottle of French brandy next to him caught her eye, but she was still on the job. No time to be lounging around in comfortable chairs. She had a call to make. Hundreds of kilometers away in Perm, Hadjij Umar Memsarov sighed and picked up the phone, which had roused him from a nap in one of the regent's own chairs. Shiryev, he mumbled. Finished? I wouldn't be talking to you otherwise, came the terse but not unfriendly reply. I've had word from Zatsiev too. All your old forts are secure. She's running the stragglers out towards Orsk now. There was a long pause as Mamsurov closed her eyes and tried to find some joy in reclaiming the Ural Guards' home, but felt nothing more than grim satisfaction. Mamsurov? Sorry. Oh, yep, Guild, you're right. Irrational behavior around gold. We know what that's a sign of being. Sorry, the old general said, opening her eyes to gaze out the window upon Perm's skyline. A pleasant view, apart from the ugly, close-packed smokestacks that marked new imperial factories. I was just thinking. At any rate, that's our job done, comrade. Update the civilians on the situation. Killing the Nazis was the easy part. Nation building, on the other hand... So this is over here. I think. Shit around Perm should be in this region. Here we go. The Trans-Ural Confederation. Oh, wow. So, like, it's undergone a sex change. How progressive. That was a silly joke. Well, I guess it sort of has. You know, Perm used to be pro-Nazi, hardly that anymore. So here. Yeah, there's the refugee crisis going on. They're flooding the mountains. Look at the laws. The laws of this one? Well, I don't know how to do that. I guess I could tag switch over to them. I will in a minute. Do you mean the laws of the Trans-Ural Confederation or what? Anyway. So this is the Trans-Ural Confederation led by Hajj Umar Mamsurov. Even as Hajj Umar Dijorovich Mamsurov leads a nation, her heart still screams in defeat. In a better time, Mamsurov was a commander of the Ural League, protecting her people from the tides of tyranny that surrounded them. When Taboritsky's men invaded, Mamsurov fought to the end, but to no avail. As Mamsurov lost contact with battalion after battalion, the truth gradually became clear to her. The Ural League was gone, and her men were alone. With the, look at the laws. Oh, they have trans-Ural laws. We've got laws for the trans people around here, and the trans people will always be free. With the guards, just this. Oh my gosh, I wonder if it was my subconscious, but I just realized it's like that one. Do you guys remember that show Key and Peele? I know Peele's like more famous for being a movie guy now. But anyway, they had this bit where there's like a couple of dudes in a bar and they keep looking around. It's like, let me tell you something about black people, and then there would be positive stuff. So like, you know, they're like in the bar and going, I got something to say about them Mexicans around here. And they're looking around. Nobody works harder, I'll tell you what. It's just silly. So anyway, with the guards' destruction, many lost hope and surrendered to the regent and her madmen. Yet Mamsurov could not let go of the dream. As the empire rose and fell, Mamsurov and her band of partisans never ceased their struggle. Years later, when Taboritsky's death tore apart the empire, Mamsurov at least last returned to liberate whoever could be saved from the madness to come. With the partisans victorious, Mamsurov has certainly spared some precious few, but she is certain she could have done more. The Ural's new leader still sees visions of the world she promised her people, where her men beat back Taboritsky and saved the land to which they were sworn. But there was no time for raging. The Urals needed a new protector, one strong enough to save them from any foe. As Mamsurov walks through empty villages and charged forests, she is certain that this duty falls to him. Let's see here. Here we go. Black market's now available. Wasn't that nice? Let's see. Can you give me the deep thoughts on Season 2 of Last Days of Anime like you did with Studio Trigger stuff? Well, I didn't really give my deep thoughts. I actually want to do that on my other channel, especially because I saw a video recently from Pen Kitten, and then I didn't even know it was going to happen. I guess I'll catch up on the chat while I wait. A little bit after the clip. Okay, no. let's see here. Okay. Alright, I think we're good here. Only war. For the first time since the rise of Post-Taboritsky, war in earnest has come to Western Russia. The ghastly crusade of the Imperial Guard and Shuturmovki had once seemed unending. Every heathen village they raised only seemed to create more subhuman parasites, no matter how deep they dug their fingers in. No matter how much violence went into the effort of uprooting the weeds, they could never reach the roots. The reports read success, but reality disagreed. When the apparatus supporting the genocide fell away, their enemies were ready. The years of preparation, of refusing open battle and picking off stray patrols came to a sudden violent end. From the hidden places of their homeland, the Tartars, Udmurts, and Bashkirs struck out with a terrifying fury born of grief. Like a tidal wave, they swept north and east, washing away the forces of General Yuri Evtukovich. But even a tidal wave eventually recedes. Evtukovich's forces, though reeling, now had their longtime foes in sight. Fear and hate fueled their black hearts, already embittered by years of gruesome struggle. The battle lines finally solidified as the Imperial Guard found a foothold, and solid they would remain for many, many years thereafter. For every civilian struck by a mortar, a Shaturmov or guardsman would vanish while on sentry duty. When a Russian toppled into his trench with a hole in his head, the guard snipers would repay the favor in kind. Every time a barrage decimated a partisan squad, their comrades would be sure to lift a screaming officer upon a dozen bayonets by day's end. On and on and on it went, victims desperate for justice against a pack of butchers with their backs to the wall. There was no glory in it, only a vicious, all-consuming battle for survival. I got cut off at Pen Kitten. Okay, so what I was just saying is that, like, I was watching a Pen Kitten video, and then he mentioned me in it, and I didn't know he was going to mention me in it. That's not why I was watching it. But he did, and then he brought up my other channel where I do things like review anime, but I haven't done it in so long because I started working on this channel. And he said, I'm waiting on the next episode review for Legend of the Galactic Heroes, and I kind of laughed because I went, oh man, this is bad. And then I looked at the date that his video went up, and he had made that video in 2019, so it's been about 2 years since. So 2 years ago, he was going, it's been a long time, where's the next one? And I haven't done it since then, so it was pretty bad. Okay, so let's look at the new one that popped out. We've got here the Ideologies Free State, Joint Council of the Free People's Authoritarian Democracy. Even after half a millennium spent under Russian domination, the people of the steppe, oh, there's two that popped out actually, have endured. Chauvinistic policies imposed upon them by the czars of old did not manage to break their spirit, nor did the socially collectivist nature of the Soviet Union wash away their sacred identity. The Tatars, Bashkirs, and so many other minority peoples began to believe that no matter who their masters were, their cultures would survive. Then came Sergei Taboritsky, wielding a capacity for cruelty that even the most belligerent of Russian autocrats would consider a bridge too far. Taboritsky and his dreaded Shuturmovki came down upon the minority cultures dotted across Russia's landscape like a ton of bricks, systematically wiping out communities with reckless abandon. As the region's dark grip upon the nation continued to tighten, it seemed as though the steppe people were, after so many years of proud existence, facing total extinction. Then, as though by divine intervention itself, Taboritsky was consumed by the dark abyss that she herself had created and her regime followed. With a chance to catch their breath, the minority communities of the steppe decided now was the time to come together for mutual defense, before the scourge to the north had another chance to finish their bloodthirsty mission. What resulted was the Joint Council, an administrative body for the so-called Ideologies Free State, with two representatives from each constituent republic, Tatar, Bashkar, and Udmurt, as well as three to represent the people as a whole. The council provided a level of representation that these besieged people have not experienced for some time. Whether or not they can preserve what remains of the sons and daughters of the steppe, however, remains to be seen. And then over here is the Euro Purification Zone. I think this was one of our generals before. This is a Burgundian System one. And actually, we have something for this. Give me a second here. We've got something. We have some music here. For when the Burgundian people show up. Just a minute here, I think. Oh, no. Never mind. Not yet. No, I thought it was this character, or excuse me. I thought this was the character. It's not. It's somebody else. No music. So, Ural Purification Zone, Burgundian System, under Yuri Evtukovich. The blessed regent of the Holy Russian Empire may be dead. Hold on. Okay. Hold on, let me do something for February Whiskey so he stops bothering people. I'll put a link to my second channel, but I literally haven't uploaded to it in years. And, I need to, you know, fix that. Or I'll just, you know what, I'll put a link to my most famous video. Hold on. I might have made this in like 2016 or something. Yep, July, yeah, 2016. Okay, there, so there's a link to that. So there you go, February Whiskeys. Now quit bothering people, please. Yeah, so where were we? Purification Zone. I'm trying to read this, dang it. Alright. The Blessed Regent of the... Oh my god, what just happened to the other monitor? Sorry. Okay, I thought there was a crash. Can we just read this Purification Zone already? The Blessed Regent of the Holy Russian Empire. So this is right here. May be dead, but the fighting spirit of her loyal subjects almost certainly is not. Even as the resplendent empire Taboritsky worked so hard to build continues to collapse at the seams, the dreaded Shitomorovki, her holy will made manifest, continues to fight tooth and nail against any they perceive to be enemies of the empire. Yuri Nikolaevich Evtukovich, commander of the 2nd Imperial Guard Division, is one such woman who refuses to accept the continued generation of the regent's legacy. Yuri Evtukovich was a steadfast ally of the regent since the beginning, serving with what would eventually become the Shturmovki amongst the dark street corners and alleys of the capital. The ascendancy of OVRI and Sergei Taboritsky saw Evtukovich being named as one of her key generals, and she proceeded to lead the resurgent empire's armed forces from one battle to the next, always conducting herself with the reckless brutality that so many have come to expect from the regent's troops. Now, however, the situation has changed. The Blessed Regent has been struck down in her prime, and the empire is again at the brink of ruin. Evtukovich and her troops find themselves cut off from the central government in Vyatka and surrounded by all manner of hostile forces. So it is that the 2nd Imperial Guard Division and their commander once again march to war in the name of the Blessed Tsar. The rumors may claim that the late regent was a Jew in disguise, but the general dismisses this narrative in favor of his own. Sergei Taboritsky was called to the heavens, and Yuri Evtukovich will fight bitterly to continue her holy mission on Earth. Alright. Fun and games, man. Fun and games. Let's see here. Oh yeah, what is going on in Central Africa? There are a couple of wars going on, that's for sure. Oh, uh-oh. Let's see here. What is this? Justin Thigh says she looks like she's ready to get naughty in the sheets, not commit ethnic cleansing. That ain't white stuff on her face, that's all I'm saying. Okay. Are we still technically doing this project? We're gonna establish a nuke. It's official, Taboritsky is a saint now. There you go. Oh, I don't even know what to research. Just that. Oh, we're not on 5-speed. There's the problem. But yeah, I've had a lot of ideas on stuff that I want to do on my other channel. That'll probably be over the summer, a little project I do. Try to get that up and running. Because I just want to talk about historical and social science things. And that covers a lot of ground. And then eventually, once I've got some practice under my belt, I want to then restart my Legend of the Galactic Heroes episode-by-episode review. Get that done before I die. It'll be my legacy. A crown from the gutter. The king turned his new crown over, or the queen turned her new crown over in her hands, feeling a little sick. It was an embarrassment, so shoddily made that a few segments had been lost in transit, a pale imitation of what had been lost. It hadn't even been made precisely to specifications. It was slightly too lustrous, too impressive. Of course, she felt that any crown was too impressive for a woman such as she. It's time, Your Majesty, said the elderly monk who had draped a fur cloak over her shoulders. There was an instant edge to her voice, and the king had the sense that he'd missed the first couple times the monk had told him that. Yes, the queen replied simply. Yes, I know. Forgive me. I am... She swallowed, suddenly cold. It's wrong, she finally said as she donned the broken crown. Catching a glimpse of herself in the mirror, she had to stifle a bitter chuckle. It was noticeably ill-fitting, much like she was for the title that had been thrust upon her. Caught up in yet another pothole of self-deprecation, she didn't notice that the monk had quietly shuffled past her and onto the balcony overlooking the town square. At least not until the monk, with a voice entirely too powerful for such a wizened old man, startled her by booming out the words the queen had been dreading. Brothers and sisters, in the sight of God and man, I present Her Majesty Boris I, daughter of Rurik and liberator of Altay. For our people, Father. Yeah, somebody said Turkmenistan's chilling. Turkmenistan is not just chilling. Turkmenistan is... Well, we'll look at Turkmenistan in a second here. Turkmenistan is also just looking adorable as well. So everything's great in Turkmenistan. Alright, so the new... Wait, where's the new... Here we have... Yeah, we have the Kingdom of Altay here under Boris I. Despotic. When Boris Nikolaev Kryilov refused her father's offer to be made a prince in her kingdom, she remained a general in the kingdom's military. But her position wouldn't last. As the city of Kemerovo fell to their enemies, Boris narrowly escaped the probable fate of the rest of her family. Hiding out as a fugitive in the central Siberian wilderness, she eventually settled in a small village under an assumed name. As the Holy Russian Empire swept eastward and established their administration within Siberia, nightmarish atrocities descended upon the population of Siberia as the Blessed Regent's agent turned brother against brother and father against son. When the news came to Boris that the regent had died, she believed it to be false, but as the wanton killing ebbed and the terror evaporated, dread was replaced by anxiety. What would be the future for Siberia? Believing that any central authority was required to inspire trust and hope within the people who had survived the Holy Russian Empire, she assumed the mantle she never wanted, Boris I, King of Altay. Her rule, kind and fair-handed to Russians and the few surviving minorities alike, has earned her many friends. Okay. So, is that Noel? No, Noel is the, would be the sibling. One of the potential heirs, but no, that's not Noel. Come on, those aren't night cup-sized. Use your eyes, people. Okay, Begin Again, which is one of the better songs from the Sayonara Wild Hearts album / game. It wasn't often that one saw a proper and sensible politician like Anatoly Sobchak vault over the side of a ship and into the waist-deep, freezing cold water, but Dima was lucky enough to see such a thing. The militia leader beside him blurted out in shock at the sight of it, but any amusement at the moment was snatched away by the genuine concern in the man's voice. Anatoly Alexandrovich, for God's sake, coming back won't do any good if you catch pneumonia and die like everyone else who gets it. Sobchak waded up and out the water, shivering but with determination in his eyes. We didn't have a dinghy on board. I'll be fine with a change of clothes. Dima and his cohort shared a concerned glance. Don't do that, Sobchak. Noel from Genshin Impact. Oh, I don't really know Genshin Impact, so I guess so. Maybe. Where's the Czar, sir? Probed Dima. Did you really come alone? Oh my god, people keep asking about the fucking Kemerov thing. I'll answer in a second. Where's the Czar? Probed Dima. Did you really come alone? Dima knew how keenly disappointed how keenly disappointment had come across in his voice, but Sobchak didn't seem to notice. He serves this cause better from his homeland. His Majesty knows people there, businessmen, charities, expatriates. That aside, Russia took much from him already. I couldn't ask him to join me here. Not again. All help is welcome, Anatoly, said the militia leader, leading the other two up the chilly beach toward the smoke and smell of campfires. Whatever he could do, we will be grateful. Now come, the main camp isn't far. We have grilled fish, rice, a little vodka. Not much else, though. Everyone gets something, even the boss. No arguments. If you aren't getting paid for any of this, neither are we. Not that money counts for much anyway. We are the poor, the huddled masses. So, more Imperial lands. Okay, so Kipsu asked, I got asked since Kimarov showed up. I remembered in the vote you did in the community tab, you're really adamant about not doing them all until content gets expanded. Why? Out of curiosity. Well, you just answered it yourself. It's because of the, excuse me. It's because of the content. Now, the way Kemerov works now is eventually have an heir, but the heir only comes along at the end of the at the end of the campaign. So you end up with only a little bit of time, and both of the characters who are the potential heirs I like because they're Hololive characters. One's Noel, and the other one is Mori Calliope. And so I want to get more time to play as them, whichever one I pick, so I'm going to wait until the TNO timeline gets expanded, so it's not on the table. So we've only got, like, 8 other nations to choose from. Oh yeah, Amur. So this is what just happened. The refugee zone. This is led by Anatoly Sobchak. For every, this looks like bubblegum. Very pink, a lot of pinkness going on. For every 100 tales of loss and sorrow, there's one of survival that gives the faintest glint of hope in what often seems to be a doomed land. The story of Anatoly Alexandrovich Sobchak is one of those tales. Formerly involved in the monarchist white movement in Chita during the early 60s, she was mayor of the major Far Eastern city. When the whites were on the brink of defeat, she fled the city with a meager handful of friends, first slipping into the Siberian wilderness before covertly slipping over the border to Manchukuo. When she was there, she helped rebuild whatever sort of a Russian expatriate community was left in Harbin. When news arrived in the Manchurian city that the Blessed Regent had died and that her empire was rapidly crumbling, Anatoly Alexandrovich made one of the hardest decisions of her life. She went back. Crossing the Amur with no more than 24 followers, Sobchak founded what she called the Amur Refugee Zone, swearing she will use her international connections in the sphere in the west to bring in all the foreign aid she could to what few people remained in eastern Siberia. Sobchak has dedicated her life to an attempt at alleviating the vast suffering that has been inflicted upon the Far East. Okay. Let's keep moving. Actually, what I think I want to do here is, let's see, we're an hour 20 in. It looks like most of the warlords have popped out, I think. But having said that, oh, is there a war going on down here? No, it's just really weird curved border lines here. Look at that. But I'm a little bit hungry, so what I think I want to do is I want to warm up a bowl of soup that I've got, and yeah, I'm gonna warm up some soup and get some water. I know there's more Kipsu. I'm not going anywhere. Can we have a little patience, people? So, all right. I'm gonna do a pause here. I'm gonna be gone for like less than a minute. I just want to get a bowl of soup warming up and some water because I'm getting cotton mouth from all this reading. So, just a moment. Almost set. Almost set. Oh shit! Oh shit! Did we lose? Did we miss one? Did we miss one? Oh my god. Oh no. Oh, did we miss? Was that a Warlord event that we just missed? Hold on. Anybody? Was that another Warlord breaking out? I don't see one. Nobody's fucking answering in the chat. So... Oh, yep, there's the Russian Empire. Okay, that's fine. That's why we have autosave. Fuck's sake. Sync's running in the other room. Hold on. Alright. Okay, just a moment. Okay, got my soup now. Teaser, what are you doing in my seat? Move. Okay. So I guess we just unpause and it should pop up again. Okay. Okay, whoa! Caesar! Oh, okay. No, that wasn't Caesar. That was something else. Ugh. What kind of soup? It's just, it's nothing fancy. It's some just, freaking vegetable soup. Here we go. It's just got, like, yeah, I just made it last night. I made a big bowl of soup to have with other stuff. It wasn't possible. Everyone with sense knew it was a delusion, or a lie. There had been other reasons to go along with the regent anyway. The Alexei obsession was a means to an end, that end being order. The Nazification of Germany, of Russia. The extermination of the motherland's Zionist foes, and a myriad other possibilities depending on who one asked. So who, wondered Governor Markeno, was the regal figure standing over him? Why, by the regent's putrid corpse, did his own 2 bodyguards have their rifles trained on him? Most importantly, what did this man say or do that had this entire palatial staff on their knees before him? This is he? Asked the stranger. Blue-gray eyes glared down at Marenko with cold indifference from above, kingly features and neat trimmed facial hair in the classic Romanov style. It couldn't be. It literally wasn't possible. Yes, your majesty, said Marenko's housekeeper, a middle-aged widow whom the governor kept around mainly for the quality of her intimate company. Governor Marenko, appointed by the regent, God curse his memory. The stranger was silent for a moment, his features inscrutable. Finally, her features inscrutable. Finally, she spoke. My people have testified to your crimes, Ivan Vladimirovich. I know all that you have inflicted upon them. I know that you forced them to worship my graven image at gunpoint, then laughed at night as you counted the coins made from melted down crosses. Heaven's payroll, you called it, when you thought none were listening. The words hit Marenko like a hammer in his gut. That wasn't possible. No one had access to his matter unless she wanted them to. There were guards at every door and razor wire along the walls. His study had been swept for bugs by the Okhrana. None of them could have been bought. This woman, she couldn't. Governor Marenko, boomed the stranger, I judge you a thief, a rapist, and a murderer. By the authority invested in me by God Almighty, I sentence you to death in the name of the crown. No! The governor screamed as a rifle pressed to his temple. You're dead! You're... I can't do a gunshot sound, but, you know, blah, 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 blah. Dead men tell no tales. Well, 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 what have we here? It would appear that I was right. Alexei was alive! Didn't we say Alexei lived? And there were doubters, I remember. And yet, there Alexei is. There she is in all her glory. And here she is again, descending from the heavens. Alexei always lived. Taboritsky was right. Insane, but right. Here is Alexei. Here is the Tsar, ready to save Russia. Okay, so let's read about her. Alexei is back, the leader of the Russian Empire. Who is she? A woman? A god? An idea? Hold on, let me get a little of my soup here. We seem to have lost some viewers when I had the soup incident. Each Russian has their own answer. Taboritsky's imperial cult having stained Alexei's name into the collective consciousness of the Russian people. Many understand her as the nightmare, the final end that awaits them all. Others, styling themselves as more rational than the rest, view her as not but a name used to justify the most horrid of crimes. But to some, she is the avenging angel of the people. The light, the guide, the savior of Russia. She watched as her people slaughtered each other in her absence, saw the rise of the Reichsalder and the fall of the motherland, and wept as the regent, the wretched despoiler of all creation, plunged Russia into its darkest chapter. Her people find themselves broken and beaten with no hope of recovery. They till ravaged fields, eat poisoned food, and salt the earth further with their tears. Russia calls out in agony for something to save it from destruction. The voices of suffering millions begging the void for someone to bring them salvation, and finally, Alexei answered. Born Michael Golinowski, she has seen the triumph of Nazism everywhere it has stepped foot. Her Polish homeland fell in mere weeks, the Union didn't last a year, and even the Americans surrendered before the power of the atom. Her heart lies with the people, socialist tendencies bleeding into her governance as Tsar. But she is no extremist. Russia has suffered more than any people ought to, dying 3 times in under a century, each more brutal than the last. Now is not the time for ideology or division. Russia needs to be reborn once more, and Michael will take up the mantle of its phoenix. God has not seen fit to help Russia, but Alexei lives, and she loves her subjects. So, despotic, loyalist, imperial loyalist party or something? I don't know. Interesting. Very, very interesting, of course. Monarcho-socialist Alexei. There you go. Monarchical communism. Only Alexei could pull it off as the saving angel of Russia. Who's saying Alexei is sus? The April 14th Conquering History Games soup incident. But yeah, it's just some vegetable soup. I just made a big pot of it so I can have a lot of it to have with other stuff. I feel like this wasn't a great base cabbage though. Greatly exaggerated reports Hold on here. Hold on here. Oh my goodness. I thought we were playing Taboritsky to get away from all the communists. Regent Leronov trembled with impotent rage. An acquisitioned lover, sitting helpless on the floor of her bedroom. She'd killed them. She'd marched north herself, crushed the partisans, severed the head from their collective body. Okay, now I'm going to try to do a female Bane voice. I'm going to put the mask on. Why was the damnable Red Army back? What were these reports, these lies and delusions? The Reds were dead. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can either do a girl voice or the Bane voice. We're just going to do the Bane voice. Why was the damnable Red Army back? What were these reports? These lies and delusions? The Reds were dead. Dead and buried like the wretched Union. The Red Bonaparte and Zhukov were dead too. So were most of their generals. What more could the vermin possibly still have to throw at him? So we're just going to do regular Bane voice. You know, here's how we can interpret it, that it's coming out of her body. Like, somehow she got gas somehow, and it fucked up her voice. So, yeah, you can still imagine titties if that helps you. There was no Red Army anymore. Anyone could have blown those bridges, severed those lines, ambushed those troops. It could have been the bastard Finns, or Imperial Guard turned bandit, or anything. Anything but the Bolsheviks. Of course, it was nonsense. See, I'm going for, because Bane's voice is messed up, he's got to... That's why the messenger's body was lying in a pool of lukewarm blood outside her office. Bastard liar. Could even have been a Red Saboteur himself. The letter had been scrunched up and thrown into the fire, but its vile words were still burning through his mind like venom. After so many times bringing down the boot, how could it be? And who the fuck is Alexander Altunin? By the way, I was obviously doing the Dark Knight Rises Bane voice because actual Bane would have a Central American accent, because I think he is from El Salvador. So, you think the Red Arm? You think chemicals are your ally? Let's see here. Who the fuck is Alexander Altunin? You guys are gonna like this. The North Russian Liberation Front under Alexander Altunin. As the West Russian Revolutionary Front collapsed around her, Alexander Tenanyevich Altunin shouldered the crushing weight of defeat once more. A war hero during the West Russian War, she was known for coordinating logistics to the front and protecting refugee convoys during the darkest period of the war. She played a similarly important role during the brief resurgence of the front in its bid to reunify Russia. But as defeat swept over Altunin and her comrades once more, she was spared the fate of death. Fleeing to the far north and living in an obscure feeling village, she survived the nightmare. When Taboritsky died, Altunin, crippled by survivor's guilt, stepped forth. Coming out of hiding and inspired by her past successes against the Germans, she has taken up the reins of the so-called North Russian Liberation Front, an organization dedicated to the plight of the Russians of the Northwest. However, she cannot alleviate the suffering of the people while hiding behind the curtain of ideology. By heading the Liberation Front, Altunin has made the choice to abandon ideology and perhaps the very notion of a unified Russia to ensure that her land begins to heal from the deep scars of Taboritsky. So there you have it. Every Pravda leader gets to be every Pravda girl gets to be a leader. Now we just need the really tiny one in the KV2 with the cute Ushenka, and she's the loader. Now she just needs to be a leader somewhere. and you'll have everybody. What's that one's name? Like Nina or something. But no, it's awesome, Clara. That's very cool that Clara got to be a leader. You know, probably somebody who speaks Russian. Well, no, not speaks Russian, but you know, the one whose primary language is Russian should the transfer student probably should lead some sort of communist thing. She's Batov 2.0. But I think, well, you might be right, Lion Gunner, but she might be Batov 2.0, but unlike Batov, she wears pants, or at least skirts. So, you're out of your fucking mind, Dicky, spat Governor Alexandrov. Hold on, more soup. Hold on. More soup. Oh, yeah, let's look at the national spirits here. They collaborate with the Finnish people now. That's how bad things have got. You might have the Siberian divisions on your side, but the rest of our armies know where their loyalties are. As soon as they get word of what you've done... Alexandrov grunted and dropped to one knee as Dicky slugged him in the gut. It didn't hurt much, but it did throw him off balance. I must disagree, came that snide, slightly nasally voice, entirely unsuited to a man of authority. You know Mekheki has gone rogue. Evtugovich, too, that's what they tell me. Me, and not you, Governor, because they know where authority should reside. More soup. It's literally the 60s, but a decade later. That's airtight, Roman Birchwald. Are you Houston Astros fans? Did you pick that one up from Carlos Correa? Hey, if I would have hit a homer, I would be running home. Wow, that's great. And if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. So. Dicky's arrogant, treasonous spiel was followed up with a booted kick in Alexandrov's groin. By the way, I understood what you were trying to say, Roman, about the border. It's about the borders, right? It was just making a little joke. Alexandrov made a guttural, half-grown... Oh, wait, no, I messed up. What was that, Governor? Same Dickie's voice from somewhere above him. You'll have to speak up. Another kick, and then another. Square in the old man's eye. He would have screamed if he had any breath. If you've any objections, now's the time for them. Alexandrov made a guttural, half-groan, half-growl in the depths of his throat. He was too winded for words and in too much pain to even choose his words. Pathetic, said Dicky, forcing an arch tone to his voice. Weak, feeble, a poor choice, but unsurprising considering that Jew bastard Lerenov put you here. Now Lerenov is a Jew, apparently. I'm not the Jew! You're the Jew! You know, it's just... The governor's good eye turned upwards and glared with pure hate and contempt at the bespectacled rodent above. Dicky had drawn a pistol, the foremost ideologue of Nazism in the Empire, supposedly embodying the virtues of the Russian Aryan, and he was about to shoot a crippled old man who was lying on the floor with his hands cupped. Unfortunate that Dicky had reached the paymasters first. Every death is a stepping stone. It's like just every governor in the frickin' country, it's just becoming like that one line from the debates in 2016. Like, we're just, no Jew, no Jew. You're the Jew. So this is the Bratsk Communal Vanguard. Antonivy Afanasievsky Mishorenko is the leader of an all-new black army that rules over what remains of the wastes of Siberia. After the horrors of the Mad Regent, Mishorenko stoked the flames of internal dissent within the remnants of the Siberian Black Army, breaking off the Bratsk Communal Vanguard under his personal protection. Now her warriors ride about the desolate remains of the countryside, tasked with securing order in the communes. She claims to be the true heir to the Black Army, a personal protector of anarchist ideals, and a warrior for equality forged into her despotic position by the circumstantial horror of the Holy Russian Empire. Most, however, see her as little more than a bandit king with delusions of grandeur. Alright, but was that the one that we just saw, though? There's not another that popped out anywhere? Just making sure. Yeah, this is it. This is Dicky. Andrei Dicky. Burgundian System. Ah, yes. This is the one that I think has the music. I think. So, let's pause this. And then I'm going to drink some soup. Eat some soup. And then we're going to play the music. I'll say the tomatoes are very good. I'm using stewed tomatoes. Okay, here we go. Burgundian System. Hold on. Here we go. Yo, DJ, spin that shit. Andrei Ivanovich Dicky was a longtime associate of the Blessed Region. Dating back to the days before the rise of the Regency, she rose rapidly within the ranks of the Regency, irritating herself to the regent integrating herself to the regent wherever and wherever she could. When the collapse happened, Dicky found herself in the Far East, overseeing the purification of the region. After the Pretender, the morally decrepit pit of subhumanity masquerading as the so-called Alexei II, Andrei Ivanovich knew the truth. Marshalling what soldiers she could, she rose against the Pretender, dedicated to putting down who she referred to as the satanic imposter. In reality, Dicky is little more than a naked, power-hungry cretin with few true ideological convictions past the all-consuming desire for power. As the political machine that she helped build and reinforce fell apart around her, she did not weep or grieve. Where her former compatriots saw tragedy, she saw opportunity. Equipped with a dogged desire to empower herself, she views the destruction of Alexei II and her movement as her ticket to acquiring enough legitimacy to declare herself the true regent of a resurgent Holy Russian Empire. So, what I might just go ahead and do, because I don't know if that was copyrighted or not. What we're gonna do is let's actually watch the intro. So remember, this girl is our Burgundian System governor. Alright. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat. First one of the stream. Well, we already invested so much to Holy Russia, so I'm all the way with Laranov. We must purge all these unbelievers. Yeah. Well, some of them are Burgundians like us, so yeah. So this is that Burgundian ruler who's trying to make herself the new regent. Here we go. This is so cursed. Oh, thank you. Our Burgundian governor can't be this cute. I guess these are the other warlords. What the fuck is this, some BDSM gear? There she is. Oh my god, the burning building in the back! Oh my god, it's perfect! Oh, thank you very much, Fran Chan. Oh my god, there's all the dead people! Kill them all! Only one shall be left alive. My fish do the talking. Oh my god! Oh my god! The body of Russia being destroyed. This is so good! There's only one path to supremacy. Oh my god. Though everything's on fire. I wasn't looking at the video when I played it the first time. Okay, one more time. That's amazing. Come on, guys, let's go liberate Russia, or let's go create the Holy Russian Empire together. It just seems so happy, and then, oh man. A magical land. Oh, it's beautiful. Blitzkrieg annihilation. Don't believe the soothing words and nice smiles. Hey! I'll send you straight to heaven. This is all they show on state television in HRE, in the Holy Russian Empire. It's just this on a loop. No one should... The dogs in the helicopter. Oh man, that was wonderful. And as usual, just ignore whatever it has in my suggestions. I just fucking... YouTube doesn't know what to do with me. Like, yeah, I'm seeing here at the bottom right here, Racing into the Night official music video. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what this other stuff on the bottom is. I don't know what like half these squares are. Okay. Alright. Let's keep going. Was that helicopter Apache? Let's see. 13-year-old me when I find a village in creative. Penzorfelo says wholesome firebombing of Nanjing. USA, what the fuck? Is this the only signal coming out of Russia? Gil says, what the fuck am I doing in my life? What's the anime about? I don't know. Let me look up. Okay, the name of the anime is Dai Mahu Togi. Let me look it up. Dai Mahu Toge. Which roughly translates to Magical Witch Punny-chan. Or The Great Magical Gap. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, because it's just an anime, it's not that important, we're going to use Wikipedia. The Wikipedia says, the story revolves around a young girl named Puny Tanaka who is Princess of Magical Land. In order for her to become queen, however, she must become a transfer student in a Japanese high school. Due to her potential to become the next ruler, she has many enemies that wish to assassinate her. This proves difficult to them because Puny is both skilled at martial arts and possesses magical powers, which she uses to quickly defeat her enemies. The series is a parody of magical princess anime and often uses the juxtaposition of cute characters with brutal violence for humor. I've never heard of this. There's an English dub of it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hydra. Once the Black League formed a plan, one which would ensure the survival of their ideals, even if the Glav Korverk was killed, and Omsk itself was razed to the ground. It was not overly difficult, for survival at all costs was the very purpose of the Black League in the beginning. When the worst came to pass and Yazov perished, Plan Hydra went into effect, at least to a degree. With the Black League's own state destroyed, many survivor cells felt little obligation to the ideals of a dead man, much less one who had been so thoroughly beaten and had his ideals trampled into the dirt. In that situation, it seemed a better use of their talents to find new employment opportunities, or turn bandit for easy money. Those men were the first to have vengeance visited upon them. From forest dugouts, sealed basements, Soviet bunkers, and abandoned buildings, the remnants of the Black League spread. Compared to the Empire, even those cold-hearted killers were welcome among the populace. So does that definitively confirm that Taboritsky's Russia is worse path? Because like if the populace is going, oh thank God, it's just the Black League. Oh, I forgot to put some vinegar in the soup. I sometimes like to put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in the when I make cabbage soup. I guess I think I once read it's like an Irish thing, but it kind of like it opens up more flavor. Well, I'll just have it raw. At that particular junction, Yazov's ideals of national vengeance seemed more appealing than ever. But the Black League was not led by Yazov anymore. By the estimation of the survivors, Yazov was a fool who lets victory slip away. His intention was right, but his methods and goals required refinement, experimentation, a reassessment of Russia's enemies. The latter point in particular was of great importance, for the list clearly needed revision, and to be much, much longer. I got something longer for you. No, I'm sorry. Redeemed Black League. People like them now. Under Alexander Lazarenko. Nice hat with the logo and everything. Dmitry Yazov was wrong. The Teuton, for all his disgusting evil and inhumanity, was but one great enemy of the Russian race. Taboritsky and the men who followed him were not Teutons, but Russians, horribly riddled by a Germanic ideological disease. In germ warfare, only the proper precautions and vaccinations can prevent an outbreak amongst your own population. Damn, when even the Black League is not anti-vax, doesn't that just make the anti-vaxxers look like shit? It's like, you're, what's that Rick and Morty line? It's like, you're worse than Hitler, because at least Hitler cared about Germany or something. So it's like, you're worse than the Black League, because at least the Black League believes in vaccines. To Alexander Ivanovich Lazarenko and her redeemed Black League, hidden from the surface in their deep planned Hydra bunkers, only the cold embrace of the earth ensures the purity of her soldiers. Russia is a corpse writhing with maggots, with each rancid grub wearing a uniform and proclaiming nations of their own. The Russians, once thought by Lazarenko to be the race to save mankind from the horrors of Nazism, is now polluted beyond redemption. That is the ultimate cruelty of the Teuton, to have poisoned the very essence of the Russian race. With a heavy heart, Alexander Lazarenko has proclaimed a new crusade, a second great trial to cleanse the Russian people of their Teutonic pestilence. By bullet, gas, and shell, Russia will be redeemed. There is no other way. Let's see, anti-vaxxers are worse than Tabby. At least Tabby was right. Oh, man, because, yeah, Lexi lived, so Tabby was right. Hold on, is this something else new? Oh, no, we already read that. Yeah, the Communal Vanguard. Okay, we're running out of slots here, people. Can't be too many left. The Black League basically turns into the Enclave for Fallout, where they think them and only those from the bunker are true Russians. Everyone else is collateral. Ad Astra. Is somebody else going to still try to go to space? It's like, we got, like, Russia's fucked. We're going to go found Russia in space. Novaya Russia. Okay. General Secretary Kardashev, a title given in secret, worn in secrecy, and now being propagated around Chelyabinsk by eager revolutionaries. General Secretary Kardashev, head of the Chelyabinsk Provincial Soviet, or the Chelyabinsk Institute, as citizens have taken to call it, given it was run out of the university of the same name. Kardashev had looked upon the idea with skepticism, but the logic of the subordinates who had elected him was sound. Taboritsky's nightmarish empire was crumbling, and soon all of Russia would be plunged into a second time of troubles. The people need it. Dude, I'm pretty sure Russia right now would love to live in, like, the Irish Troubles time right now. Like, that would be nothing compared to this. I know that means time of troubles the anarchist career, but you guys know what I'm saying right here. People need hope to rejuvenate their spirits and avoid the bottomless pit of despair. The right man, a young man, bright and innovative with ambitious designs for socialism, could grant that hope, serving as a Marxist messiah in the fallen world created by a fascist theocracy. Taking Chelyabinsk wasn't the difficult part. Drastically outnumbered, the citizens of the city and NKVD remnants from Magnitogorsk were more than a match for them. The zone of influence outside the city remained small, but that suited the inwards-looking institute for the time being. The difficult part would be building a society on sane, scientific principles, when it looked like everything resembling sanity was just a fading memory. Hold on a second, get one more sip here. Evil is transient. Truth is eternal. I'll sing you of a spaceship brave that something great'll do to I'm sorry, I got nothing. Hold on. Well, where are they? Oh, yeah. Wait, are they not in the west? Where are they? Revolutionary communes, Purification. Oh, this is it. This is it. Yeah, right. There she is, the one leader that survives. Nikolai Kardavchev. Potential leader under Comey, I think, if you go with Zhdanov's path. Once a brilliant physicist working to ensure the continuation of Russian scientific advancement, even as the land fell into anarchy, Nikolai Semyonovich Kardavchev was finally sent to a death camp just before the death of Taboritsky. After escaping in a large prison uprising occurring in the chaos that followed, Kardavchev went to Chelyabinsk, located near the camp that once held him, and found a society of scientists and researchers already working in hiding to build a better society out of the inevitable ashes. Quickly taking charge of this group, Kardashev used her excellent administrative skills to attract other intellectuals as well as partisans and former NKVD officers to serve as security forces. As a result of her hard work in developing this haven for progress, she was elected director of the Chelyabinsk Institute by her colleagues. Wasn't that special? So let's see. Most people seem to think this is most people's favorite from what I'm getting. The Cutting Edge. A visionary enclave and attrition preparations. Nikolai is a lawyer from law firm that throws objection to win the case. Let's see, I bet the Russian people would prefer to live in the times of Stalin than in this Russia. Yep, that's a good point, Potato Man. Now here's the thing, Potato Man. You call yourself Potato Man, and yet, I can't tell because the profile picture is very small. It looks like your man has an onion on his head. Curious. The Triumph of Evil. Oh, this is the one we keep hearing about. Excerpt from the Book of Cain, Holy Scripture of the True Messiah. All I ever wanted was the truth. The Regent gave me the truth. He lifted the scales from my eyes. Oh, the Regent meaning. She showed me that my urges were not a sin, nor a weakness of character, but a gift. A compulsion from Adonai to do his bidding. Blinded by hubris, I could not see through the glimmering scales of light which the Regent placed upon my sight. Under her false auspices, I killed wantonly in the name of the crucified one, rejecting the pure purpose of the wrath that boiled within my soul. I was blind, but now I see. As will you, once you bear witness to the greatness of this blessed scripture. The revelation all but destroyed us. I saw men tear their own throats out with fingernails, painting the blighted soil with arterial spray. Those I called brothers turned on each other, maddened by the weight of their sin. All of Russia, that fallen and deluded nation, turned in upon itself once more, in a maelstrom of guilt-written butchery, too broken to carry on. But I learned the way and the truth as I crawled from the hovel I called home, drenched in the blood of filicide and charred by the rising flames. I beheld the morning star, and his light filled my being. Now I know, blessed child, as all will someday, you too will learn the truth, and the truth will set you free. Regne Satanas! Ave Satanas! Alright. Well, this reminds me of, I think there was an episode in one of the seasons of American Horror Story where they were trying to fake this. These people were trying to take a videotape of themselves pretending to look scary, and they said, "We should say Ave Satanas." It's like, what is that? It's Hail Satan, but in Latin. Well, why don't we just say it in English? It's like, well, because in Latin it sounds scarier. It's like, all right, turn on the camera. Ave Satanas. So there it is. The Brotherhood of Cain has taken control of Omsk. It's Abaddon in charge. As Shutumrofi Commander Anatoly Andreevich Motsny watched as the Russian monster state collapsed. She was a woman lost. After the death of Sergei Taboritsky, the empire was shattered, its armies scattered across Russia. As warlords and subhumans fought in the ruins, Motsny and her unit took hold of the fortress city of Omsk. It was in Omsk that Motsny learned the gut-wrenching truth. Taboritsky, her most holy rage into the blessed Czar, was nothing other than a disguised Jew. The revelation shook the devout Motsny to her very core and forced into doubt all she had ever believed in. As Motsny ruined her own flesh and imbibed hallucinogenic drugs in search of the truth, the answer became painfully clear. Taboritsky was indeed a holy man, the true prophet of God, just as she was a Jew. If God could permit this vile creature to be her servant on earth, then what use was there in worshipping her? Motsny felt terribly alone, cut off from her faith and alone in a hostile world. That was until a second epiphany came to her. If God could ally herself with Jews, then her enemy, mighty Lucifer, must be the true savior of mankind. With the hole in her soul mended by newfound devotion to her dark master, Motsny has abandoned her former life and adopted the moniker of Abaddon, the high priest of Satan. From Omsk she commands her Brotherhood of Cain to tear down the decadent and insipid monuments of Christianity and of Taboritsky the Arch-Jew. A dedicated occultist and believer in blood sorcery, Abaddon demands that fresh captives be brought to the bowels of Omsk to be made as offerings to her beloved morning star. Also, I forgot to play the audio for when I got that super chat. Very sorry. Let me pull that up. Satan save Russia for no one else is bothering. Okay, let's do Kurumi. Hold on. Okay, Kurumi. Murder. Here we go. So, thank you very much, 10 Purification, for the super chat. And the Ghost of Taboritsky says...
Thanks for the snack, boys.
I don't need to keep the bit going. I want to keep the bit going. The bit will continue. Yeah, Abaddon pick. Yeah, this is another very detailed one. I think I haven't been mentioning it, but yeah, I really like a lot of these pictures. I like this one. This one's really good. Republic of New Tomsk. Alexei, so obviously amazing. Sobchak here is maybe a bit too happy, and the pink titties are a bit distracting. Laranov is great. Of course, Clara is perfect. Set it to 5 speed since Tabby's dead. Let's see what that sounds like. Hold on. Half speed, Taboritsky, thanks for super chats. Let's see what that sounds like.
Thanks for the snack, boys.
Okay, so Socialist says, I think that's all the factions. Is it? So then the Holy Russian Empire will just hold on to this strip. Let's make a save file just in case. But if we're really done, what I might do is, once all the Warlords are out, once all the Warlords are done, we'll then tag over to the one I want to play. Okay, some say there's a bit more. Alright, well, we've got the save file there. Let's go forward, I guess, like a month, and if no others pop up, we'll then go back to that save file. And continue. Let's see, there's two more. Okay, that's fine. Now the one that I'm going to play has already shown up, I will admit, but I do want to see them all. We'll just start saving after every Warlord. Okay. Maxim says 4 or 5. It'll be clear when they're all gone. There's going to be an update in the decision window. Okay. Well, I'll still just do like a quick save at least. You don't have to tag. There's a mechanic for this. Oh, okay. I'll still probably just make a save file each time though, just to be sure. Definitely. Also, Election Day approaches for the United States. The war in heaven. It was the distant chopping of helicopter blades that signaled doom for the people of Nenetsia. Their rising, fought with skill and ferocity, wiped out the garrison in the quiet, forested land they called home. Mere days after it began, the Free Army was able to raise their banner high and proclaim a free Nenetsia. Everyone knew the empire was disintegrating. There would be no reinforcements coming from Vyatka. This was the end of oppression. Perhaps forever. Of course, the Imperial Guard did arrive, just not on Vyatka's orders. Hundreds of black helicopters descended like locusts upon Nenetsia. Transports landed in town squares to disgorge airborne infantry who raped, pillaged, and murdered with impunity. Village after village was strafed by passing door gunners, who laughed with vicious glee at the sight of subhumans falling beneath showers of leaden death. This was it. This was the life. No more chasing partisans. It was time to do what the strong did best. Dominate. But as one ghost of the dead empire descended to terrorize the people, another, born of old Russia and far more deadly, rose from hidden airfields and descended from the clouds. Jets roared, guns blazed, and guardsmen fell from the sky, trapped within the flaming prisons of their flying machines. The free aviators had returned, and war with them. There would not be peace in Netsia, but justice still had a chance. Who said air power never won a war? Creative nickname said the free aviators except cursed. Well, yep, there you have it. 2 of them! So this was the free army that rose up first. So these are the ones that the airborne brigades are trying to put down. They are led by Alexander Zvayangin. Alexander Estavievich Zyadvgin has a dream, a daring vision of a sky unburdened with horror. First came the Luftwaffe, then Taboritsky, now Melkik and her Imperial Airborne Brigade. Housing the remnants of the Free Aviators, the Netsian Free Army duels with the helicopters of the Imperial Airborne Brigade, while the Nets, abused for centuries, struggle to eke out a living in this poisoned land. Vyazgin and her warriors know that theirs is almost certainly a lost cause. The enemy is numerous, better equipped, and better trained. The only reason they haven't yet been overrun is their knowledge of the land. The Nenets know this, but their resolve is iron. Never again will the Nenets be enslaved by Russians. Never again will the Nenets be subjugated to the nightmarish purges of the Taboritsky regime. Never again. Never again. Dami Mommy war criminals? She's not the war criminal, or is this the oh, this is Dami Mommy. Hey, hold on, that's another one of my generals. I think. Alright. Whoa, criminals. Oh, wait, no, there's already a W in there. By the way, I had a question. What do you guys think about me sometime doing a Q&A live stream where we just sit down and I answer questions from people? You know, I could take some prior, or I could take some during. It's been a little while since I did that. Might be good, especially with me taking a hiatus soon from Hearts of Iron 4. Kind of pick my brain. I don't know, just a thought. Alright, who's next? Oh yeah, I said we were going to be saving after each thing. I know, somebody said that the mechanics... oh right, I didn't even read the airborne general. Hold on. Yeah. Come on. I didn't even read this one. So they are led by Ivan Melkik. We have Sky Reavers. Airborne bandits are a new and terrifying plague upon the benighted lands of Russia. Descending from the skies faster than any land-bound vehicle, their helicopter fleet allows the airborne brigades to surround, pillage, and raze flat whatever isolated community they please before their rivals can respond. It'll take more than a few old planes from the 40s to end their reign of terror. So we've got here Ivan Melkik. When Ivan Alexandrovich Melkik learned of Taboritsky's death, She supposed she couldn't be bothered much to care. The old man was dead, and so the old woman was dead, and so was her empire. No matter what Laranov says, the Imperial Airborne Brigades, the least politicized branch of Taboritsky's military machine, was now under the sole command of Melkik. The old order is as dead as Taboritsky, and Melik, under the ever-the-ambitious woman, has no intention of serving another warlord. Why not, mused Melkik, be a warlord herself? The new bandit king of the skies has taken well to her role, and she is served by cruel, uncompromising women who protect her decrees through vicious thuggery. Taking to the skies and their aviators in a grim parody of the free aviators, Melkik and her cabal of air women terrorize towns and villages in search of loot and entertainment. Townsfolk run inside cellars and nervously whisper prayers when they hear the chopping of the brigade's propellers, cowering much as they did during the terror bombings of yore. Still waving the flag of their old formation, Melkik reminds those she brutalized and horrifies that though the regent is dead, the airborne terror lives on. Well, it's good that those helicopters are made or getting put to good use, I suppose. Gatira. So is the HRE just going to be Vyatka then, in the slightly surrounding area, or is it going to go down to Komi? Whoop. Skies of Arcadia Vice. Why did she choose that wasteland then? I don't know. Who knows? Who makes the world? I got a pain in my leg. Oh! Okay. Kessler says, how about a live stream where we all just air our complaints and requests so you'll never have to see them during the stream? Impossible. You all never stop. Victory. A thing long forgotten by Poland and her people. How long it had been? 40 years? 50 years? Since the war against the Bolsheviks, it had been nothing but defeat after defeat, despite minor successes. One might have forgiven the Polish for resigning themselves to it for all eternity, until one glorious, magnificent, and most recent day, the survivors of Nova Polska, who had resisted extermination for years, finally got their chance. And took it. As the garrison began to desert or clash over conflicting orders, the descendants of Sobieski took to the field in one final effort to reclaim their pride. They fought like the greatest of knights, but the battle's outcome was not yet assured in their favor. Then, the cavalry arrived. Russians and Cossacks alike added their colors to the Polish red and white. As one, the free people of the south struck a blow that decapitated the imperial forces in the region. On that day, more than one nation could say with pride, Poland is not yet lost! Can I get it in the chat? Poland is not yet lost! Alright. Make sure to kill Poland first. I think they're going to pop up here. Right? That's where they were before. And then the winged hussars arrived. Coming down. Yep, there it is. The Autonomous Soviet Liberation Army. Poland is an idea. Because we're a long way from Poland these days. Poland is an idea. A little flame kept alive in the hearts of every living Pole. The flame burns within Ryszard Jerry Kolinsky and within every Pole in her autonomous Soviet Liberation Army. Once an officer in Nova Polska, Kuklinski had gathered together a ragtag assortment of Poles, Kazakhs, freedom fighters, anti-fascists, and Russians, taking command of her little slice of Kazakhstan. Hers is a battle of life and death, of freedom against certain extermination. Kuklinski's primary objective is the destruction of Safagazi's insane regime and the establishment of a free socialist state on the steppe. Bread and work for all, and a bullet for the mad dogs that haunt the hellscape. So they're going after this one. Yeah. It's the year 10,053. The ethnic Polish have established a new colony on one of Venus's moons. A radio signal has come through. It simply reads, Poland is not yet lost. Did I say the year like 10,000? I don't know. Let's give the space race some credit. It's like, yeah, it's the year 2582. The Polish moon has been established off of Venice. Yeah, we're just gonna... There you go, Justin. We're gonna take Poland, and we're gonna push it somewhere else! Yeah, in the year 95, if Poland is still alive... Oh, no, let me look up that song. In the year 25. Let me try to remember the lyrics. Hold on. In the year 25, if Poles are still alive, if Poland can survive, they may find... yeah. Dread it. Run from it. Poland endures. Okay, Heaven's Light. Heaven's Light. Oh, don't make me start reading shit from, singing shit from, Hunchback of Notre Dame now. The refugee column trudged with no great alacrity across the grasslands of the southwest. Freaking, from whence they were fleeing, even the smallest child was aware, for each had equally harrowing stories to tell of the Holy Russian Empire. As to where they were fleeing, that remained to be seen. Perhaps foolishly they had headed south and west rather than toward the distant east. Towards the Germans, in other words. That sentence could have been done better. Following the Volga, they hoped for something, anything, so long as it wasn't imperial rule. Perhaps Kazakhstan was not beyond reach. It was on the 92nd day of their trek that the first good omen was sighted. A Shaturmovik, bloated, pale, and riddled with holes lying in the mud of the riverbank. A gruesome sight, but a welcome one. Then there was another. Then a third. Minutes later they entered the battlefield, where scattered corpses in black uniforms lay unburied and rotting beneath the sky. It was more than beautiful. It was a manifestation of God's justice upon earth, that some great avengers had arisen to strike down evil. That some great, beside the river, his dead eyes looked out upon the flowing waters, a headless Shaturmovik tied to a post. Tied to a post pointed forward, his arm fixed in place with blood-stained rivets. As the column's leaders peered to the horizon, the setting sun pierced the clouds behind him, casting illuminating rays upon something that glimmered and shone like burning gold. 2 days later, that once distant beacon loomed before them, packed with people like themselves and watched by stern-faced men with white crosses painted on their helmets. There was not a Shaturmovik in sight, save for the one wrapped in cloth and awaiting burial along the roadside. It was dirty, crowded, noisy, but the Lord had guided them thence, and so they rejoiced their people. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. Just their leaders going, so many times out there, I watched a happy pair of Russians walking in the night. They had a kind of glow about them. It almost... No. Better yet, it's like, I watched a happy pair of corpses in the... It's like laying in the night. They had a kind of glow about them. It almost looked like heaven's light. I'm air guitaring it right now. I knew I'd never know that deathly pale glow, though I might wish with all my might. I don't know. I need to think about it. I'll come up with alternate lyrics sometime. Oh, yes. Oh, but this must be her. Suddenly an angel has smiled at me. Okay, so we've got a conservative democracy here, the Christian Republic of Samara. Sergei Mikhailovich Izvenokov was not special. He, she, like many others, like many other priests of the Orthodox faith, fled the Holy Russian Empire after the revelation of Taboritsky's hellish perversion of the church. Izvokov helped those she could, leading them out of the nightmare and into the city of Samara. Things were not much better in the former capital of the ROA, but Izvokov and her companions kept their faith alive. They hid in sewers, basements, and in the forests, praying that the nightmare would end. And end it did with the death of the blessed regent. The people of Samara rose up, casting off their chains and sending their oppressors back to hell. Once the city was freed, a new order was established. Communism, fascism, Tsarism, the hated Burgundian System, all had led Russia deeper into ruin. No, another way must be found. And so the people of Samara looked to God. It was her kindness that led Izvikov, now Vliad Piemin, to become the first ruler of the theocratic Republic of Samara, earning the love and respect of her people to garner enough votes in the first election. Vliadkid Piemin is not a weak woman, and knows that Leranov rants and raves from Vyatka. It is only a matter of time before the second blessed regent turns her guns on the Christian Republic. When she comes, the people of Samara will be ready with faith and steel, and Vladka Piemin will lead them. And as I ring my bells tonight, my cold dark tower seems so bright. I swear it must be Sergei's light. Luxembourg endures through Samara. Alright, what do we got here? Base blade. No. Oh, what are we gonna do here? I never ended up getting better battle tanks. Amen, no. The grillers were all murdered for being centrist. What do we got here? We got a fascist, authoritarian democracy. Yeah, there's no Lib Dems or Sock Dems. Let's see, Jack Rum says one more, I think. Yeah, it's gotta be, Vagoda or whatever that was here, right? Luxembourg perpetua, Luxembourg eternal. Beata Luxembourg. Oh, the business of blood. Before I start doing my silly. Everyone's talking about Poland is not yet lost. What about Luxembourg? Another day, another letter from the insipid, self-appointed Regent Talberg, snorted and tossed into the hearth, where it quickly burned down to curls of ash. The deluded old soldier was playing at dictatorship, but with none of the charisma or drive of Taboritsky. The blessed regent had been a difficult woman at times, but Talberg and her compatriots owed their prosperity to her. Oh, we're in a little debt, guys. Yeah. Oh, wow, look at that. The old woman felt a coughing fit coming on and quickly clamped a mottled hand over her mouth while the other reached into her pocket for a handkerchief. She convulsed and wheezed for a minute. Her lungs burned by the time it subsided. Wiping the flecks of blood from her hand and lips, Talberg groaned and took a sip of water to soothe her raw throat. Damn, but she was older than she had any right to be. It felt as though her life had been extended by that which she squeezed from the thousands of slaves working in her mines every day. An amusing thought, on some level. Still, she wasn't going to live forever. The Empire was on the way out already. She wouldn't last much longer than it, that was certain. She needed a worthy successor, somebody hand-picked to avoid another incompetent, like Larenov taking charge. Security had to be attended to as well. Defending the sovereignty of the imperial corporations took precedent over attachment to a dying nation. First, however, she'd need to set about carefully severing the tendons that tied her grand enterprise to the gangrenous body, one at a time with ever so delicate cuts of the scalpel. Only once the cost could be properly accounted for would it be safe to bring down the hammer and snap the fragile bone linking them in two. Soon enough. Taboritsky had charisma, could have fooled me. That's it! It's official! It's the end of Russia. Let's read this real quick. Imperial Mercantile Consortium. In the withering eyes of Nikolai Dmitrievich Talberg, there was only power or death. First a government official under the monarchy, and later a devoted monarchist professor, Nikolai Talberg expected her final days to be papers and lectures in the halls of the Komi Republican Academy. Everything changed when Talberg gained the favor of Taboritsky. Soon Talberg became the first elder stateswoman to support the imperial government, and was handpicked by Taboritsky to lead her corporate council. Under Talberg's leadership, the Imperial Mercantile Consortium grew to be the servile beast of the empire, churning through an ever-growing mass of slaves to build the weaponry of Taboritsky's army. With Taboritsky's death, many felt the consortium should take new management, but Talberg silenced city critics foolish enough to state such ideas openly. Instead, Talberg quietly broke from her obedience to Vyatka. Free of its master, the consortium shifted focus, focusing only on ideals which could bring it further riches. Talberg became the leader of the empire's only grace, its empty wealth. Still, Talberg knew it would all end soon. Facing increasing bouts of illness, the leader has grown unable to sniff out traitors in the council, leaving dissent to fester underneath her. At times, Talberg fondly remembers times when she had students who believed in her and revered her every word. Today, Talberg wakes each day to a council of dogs, waiting to tear apart her domain at the first sign of weakness. And as Talberg grows older, she is only more certain that that day will come. Alright. The HRE will be formed into the First Imperial Trade Federation. There we go. So, we're going to save this, and we're going to read this, and I'm going to tell you who my pick is. Because we're going to reunite Russia. Special surprise campaign. I'm actually thinking about maybe making this save file available to people. Roman says, being Russian myself, this event gives me great heartache. Tough break, man. Don't worry, I'll reunite it. Sergei Taboritsky, blessed regent of the Holy Empire, is dead. In her wake, the empire she built in the name of the long-dead Tsarevich Alexei Romanov has crumbled. All that she has built, the gleaming cathedrals, the opulent manors, is being washed away by the brackish waters of utter ruination. The land is salted, the people scattered. Millions of lives, Russian and otherwise, have been snuffed out like candles. Their blood, bones, and rotting flesh saturates the soul of Russia as it does the soil. As they were sent screaming into the abyss, so too was the motherland. I know it's scary, Caesar. From such a fall, there will be no salvation. Perhaps in the decades to come, Russia will crawl blackened from the ashes, but she will forever be scarred and mutilated, a traumatized weeping crone, clad in a rotted shroud, barely able to stand on her own 2 feet. God has looked upon the land of the Rus and found it wanting. A corpse should be left well alone. The empire is as dead as its promised Tsarevich, yet what became of those that lay within its fractured carcass? Alright, so, who are we going to pick? I want you guys to take a couple minutes to say in the chat who you think it would be, who you think I'm going to pick, and who you would like me to pick. I've already got it set. I've talked with somebody on Discord that could back me up if needed. That's not going to be necessary, though, but like, the choice has been made. Of all the Warlords, who's going to get the new live stream series? So, you guys answer that while I take my bowl back to the kitchen since I am done with the soup. There's no voting, I just want to hear you. Okay, so what are people saying? I'm seeing Salvation Committee, Tomsk, Clara, Alexei, Larionov, the blonde beast of Buryata. So the blonde beast of Buryata, that's this one, right? The one who had the anime video. The Brotherhood of Cain and whatnot. The anime magical girl with fire, Russian Empire, Alaska 2.0. Lot of you know, options. A lot of options. But I think we need to complete the Pravda trilogy, and we are going to be tagging over to the North Russian Liberation Front under Alexander Altunin, aka Clara from Girls und Panzer. Somebody said they tried playing as the USSC. Impossible unless you cheese it. Which one's the USSC? I don't know. Oh, the United Siberian Salvation Committee. Right. Yeah. So that's who it's going to be. But you know what? I might do something where I keep this save file and like find a way to post it so you guys can all get access to it. Yeah. So let's go to the decision tab. We now have some stuff available after midnight. An epilogue. Russia's story may be over, but her people are not. Oh, so you could read stuff here to, like, I guess it just kind of elaborates on what we already know. But it says here that the North Russian Liberation Front, the unofficial successor to the West Russian Revolutionary Front of old, the North Russian Liberation Front is a state made up of slaves, partisans, former military officers, natives, and other figures desperate and pragmatic enough to survive 10 years of the Holy Russian Empire's apocalyptic rule. With their faith and ideology shattered, they have no illusions that Russia may be saved from the latest round of warlordism. But the North Russian Liberation Front, regardless, will stand to ensure that the boot of Nazism never again falls across Russia, and that the Russian people shall forever endure. Yeah. So we do that, and there we are. We are her. Let's kind of maybe take a peek at what we're working with here. So she's got four whole divisions. I'm pretty sure we just need to do allow Diplo in the console command, and things like that. You know, what's this? The North will not rise again. So yeah, this up here. Where once laid the seas of hope, nothing lies but deafening silence. No life thrives here but the bitter cold and the all-encompassing waste. Because remember, this is where the death squads just started wandering out into the wilderness and killing indiscriminately. There's definitely nobody out there. So we can do raids again and stuff. Sandbox mode, you mean allow Diplo? Right? So that we could, you know, justify war goals and stuff. Right? Hey SS. Oh, I used the vanilla UI submod. So we're not going to start playing as Clara today. That probably will be tomorrow. Or, you know, whenever's my next daytime live stream. I'm so happy with so many people coming to see these in the middle of the day. Friendship says, all tags have a few more events. You have to read all of them, and then you unlock a featurette called Sandbox Mode that lets you reunite. Oh, you have to read all the events. So then how do I read the events? So I just unpause and they start popping up? Oh my god, so I've got to go through every one of these and read more? Holy crap. So we're going to need another one just to... We're going to need another stream just to read it all. Oh, don't worry. We're going to get to 73. We're going to see who gets elected. Okay. Well, then, we'll do a part 2 stream, I guess, tomorrow. Holy crap. That's a lot of reading. But thank you very... yeah, we're going to end the stream here, then. So, I'm conquering history games. I'm going to stream some Nier later on today, for sure. Yeah, I'm going to faint. Yeah. So much reading, but and I like reading, but who's the ruler of Germany? Potato Man, are you serious? How's that important right now? And it's been Borman forever. But okay, we're gonna end it there today. I guess we'll do... Oh, I'm always disappointing somebody or other, socialist. I guess get used to it. I'm gonna... Okay, I can't wait until I do my pre-recorded, what looks like it's gonna be Central Siberian campaign. Everybody's gonna bitch and whine at me about that I didn't pick the person they liked. Freaking... Yeah, it's gonna be, you know... I got 5 countries to choose from, and then they have different ideologies and stuff, but, anyway... thank you very much for those who donated via Super Chat. It's what allows me to do these long streams. Yeah, I guess we'll have another reading stream. And then after that, we'll do Clara to complete the Pravda trilogy. I'm Conquering History Games. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you later on today for Nier. Also, be sure to go to my community tab and vote on stuff or whatnot. Bye-bye.